Hello, and welcome to episode 61 of the Tigers, a podcast all about the National Ice Hockey League, but one that always has an eye on the Telford Tigers. Jump straight into it this week. There's been no movement around the league in terms of players. If there has, apologies because I've missed it. We'll jump straight in. We'll kick off this week with Tigers 2. They had one game. It was away at the Bradford Bulldogs. And another win for Tigers 2. Bradford Bulldogs 3, Tigers 2 10. Continuing the perfect start to the season, racking up plenty of goals along the way, and keeping things reasonably tight at the back as well, it must be said. So congrats to Tigers 2 team for yet another impressive win. Going to the National League, we'll start with Saturday's games. Tigers made the long trek up to Solway to take on the Sharks. Tight first period in which Solway probably edged out of the two teams, I would say. Second period, Tigers started really well, didn't score, and then Solway did, and kind of went downhill after that, to be honest, on the whole. Giving up two short-handed goals on the same power play was definitely not ideal. Brad came out towards the end of the second and got replaced with Matty Bloor. Sharks 9, Tigers 3 at the end. Bit of a disappointing performance, I think, would be fairly safe to say. Biggest shout out perhaps has to go to the Solway DJ when Tigers made it 7-3 playing Keep the Faith. That was a nice touch, although sadly, a bit difficult to do at that point perhaps. In terms of the other games across the league, Steel Dogs hosted the Phantoms. It was a 5-3 win on home ice for the Steel Dogs, so an impressive win there over the playoff champions. Wildcats took on the Knights. 6-3 Wildcats. From what I've heard, very, very impressive. Leeds a bit below par, but Wildcats all over them from everything I've heard. So a great result there for Swindon. Pitbulls hosted Raiders, and the Raiders ran out 8-3 winners there in Bristol. And last but certainly not least for Saturday's fixtures, Bees took on the Lightning, and that one finished Bees 3, Lightning 6. Sunday, Tigers hosted the Bees. Pretty level after two periods, and then the Bees got unanswered goals in the third period to run out 6-3 winners, the last one being an empty net goal, but enough for them to take 2 points. Wait for the Tigers goes on to get that first point of the season. Phantoms hosted the Wildcats. Tight one this, just to 7 goals in the game, with Phantoms getting the odd-numbered goal to win it. They won 4-3. So a really big win there for the Phantoms. One that I'm pretty certain last week I said I was expecting to be close, and it certainly was. Lightning hosted the Sharks, and that one finished Lightning 7, Sharks 3. Raiders hosted the Seahawks. Seahawks had a good lead. Raiders pulled it back to 4-4. It went to overtime. And a goal was scored in overtime, so no need for penalty shots. And it went to Raiders. That is a really impressive win. Seahawks, for me, are going to be one of those teams up there at the end of the season. So for Raiders to pull that victory off, very impressive indeed. In fact, I would say that was probably performance of the weekend, or certainly unexpected result of the weekend, I guess, however you want to put it. And then last but not least, Knights hosted the Pitbulls. No surprises in this one. Finished Knights 7, Pitbulls 2. So, fixtures for the upcoming weekend. Raiders host the Tigers. I'd love to be positive, but I mean, realistically, at the moment, I'm going to have to go for a Raiders win on that one, unfortunately. I think that, Raiders are showing that they're definitely no pushovers, certainly not at home. And Tigers, I mean, to be fair, we have had some good performances, it seems, and perhaps not had the bounces going our way, so stuff dropped potentially. But, I'll go for a Raiders win on that one. Lightning host the Seahawks. Game of the weekend, this one for me. It's going to be a real big test. I mean, it could go either way, but I'm going to go for the Seahawks to win this one. But the Lightning will take a point. It's going to require overtime, potential penalty shots, but Seahawks to win that one. Wildcats host the Steel Dogs. Interesting, but I fancy the Wildcats to have too much there for Sheffield. Bees host the Knights. Knights to win that one. And Pitbulls host the Phantoms. Phantoms to win that one. On to Sunday. Tigers take on the Pitbulls. Quite simply, this is a must-win. Tigers have just got to win that game. Performance to a certain extent can fly out the window. That is all about getting the result. Have got to beat the Pitbulls. And I think they will do it. I think we've got enough to beat the Pitbulls. Phantoms host the Lightning. Going to be tight. It's going to be close, but the Lightning are going to win it. Seahawks host the Raiders. I fancy the Seahawks to win there on home ice. Knights host the Sharks. Knights will win that one. And Steel Dogs host the Bees. I'm going to go for a Steel Dogs win. So, there are my predictions for the upcoming weekend. Normally that would be the conclusion of an episode, but just one thing I want to touch upon before I finish, and that is, for the Tigers, 5 league games without a win. I haven't actually won a game yet this season, including the 4 pre-season fixtures as well. Perhaps first murmuring signs of discontent. I've seen on the unofficial Facebook group people wanting changes. Obviously disappointed that the Tigers haven't won anything, but changes, well, for me, that implies either a change of players or a change of the coaching staff. If it's a change of the coaching staff, my first and essentially only question would be who comes in. Well, actually, no, I suppose there's 2 questions. One is who comes in, and 2, who comes in that does a better job than Tom. You know, if somebody can answer those questions, then I'll perhaps at this point be interested in sort of hearing more about that. If it's players, again, similar kind of questions of, okay, well, which players do you bring in that are going to make a difference? And we've got to be realistic about that. That there's not a glut of, I'm going to say British trained players at this point. There's not a glut of British trained players out there who, are going to be able to pick up, 70, 80, 90 points a season who aren't already at a club. Thinking about it, Liam Stewart potentially, but that then comes to another question of, is Liam Stewart going to come to Telford? If he's capable of scoring 70, 80, 90 points a season, which, he is, surely he's going to want to play for a team that is going to be with a chance of winning the league, winning the cup. I don't know. Obviously, I want results to change, but I don't know if making any kind of... I guess I'm just struggling to see. It's all good people calling for changes, in my opinion, but unless there is a clear idea of what the changes are going to be and who comes in and that does a better job, I don't know what value there is in making changes for the sake of making changes. Completely accept, it's just my opinion. There are others who might disagree entirely about that, or have got some clear ideas of who could come in and change things around and sort of see an improvement in results. I've said my piece. If you want to come on and you want to agree with what I've said, you want to disagree with what I've said, and you've got some ideas, come on, let me know. More than happy to sit down and have a discussion about it. But on my side, I'm very clear. I don't see who comes in and makes this change in results. It's purely going to be down to the team continuing to gel. A few bounces going our way and just a bit of time and patience. There's my piece on that. So that concludes this episode. I'll be back this time next week. Bye for now.